Hello, hello, hello. Good morning and good afternoon, whatever time of day it is where you are. Welcome to the Rob podcast. I am Robyn, and
Lewis, the Fade Father.
this is my dad. So we are back again with another episode. Today, I want to talk a little bit about some stories of my dad that always kind of inspired me. But we'll talk about his childhood life. So growing up business minded, a little bit about how he thought about work and money growing up, and just kind of where we're from and where he's from, where our family's from. So let's hop right in.
All right, Robyn, thank you for that outstanding introduction.
Yeah, make sure you speak into the mic. You keep
Thank
doing
you for that. Thank you for that outstanding introduction, Robyn Robb. I really appreciate it. What was your question again?
I didn't start off yet.
Okay,
So we'll go right in. What was it like for you growing up? Just like kind of a general, give us a picture of like what it was like. What did you like to do? Where are you from? What did your parents do? What does your family do? Just give us a little bit of a picture of that.
all right. Growing up, as I like it, I like to have fun. I just love to have fun. But we came up with a family where, um, our mom showed us how to love each other. So we played games, we danced around the house. We just did a lot of stuff at home. And then the reason why is because we didn't have a lot of money. So not having a lot coming up made you want a lot or made you want certain things. But then when you got grown, we realized that we had the most powerful thing and the best thing, and that was love. Because we know how to help each other, we know how to forgive each other, and then we just know how to be around each other and not have too many problems or let things go too long. So growing up without, well, what we thought we didn't have is like financial stuff, but we did have good times. Our mom showed us how to just do good with what you have, because sometimes we used to eat hot dogs and french fries for dinner. So that was, we thought back then it was not enough. But if my mom got 10 or $15, she would get a pack of hot dogs, she would get a loaf of bread, she would get a 10-pound bag of potatoes. I remember walking all the way to the store to get those potatoes sometimes. And we would make our own french fries and stuff, and we would eat hot dogs, and we would just have a good time with what we had. Then when we got grown, everybody still eat hot dogs and french fries. I remember when we didn't have to eat it no more, but we always went back to eating hot dogs and french fries. We'll peel the potatoes, cut up some french fries, and we would eat like that. So growing up without made us be able to appreciate things down the road. It made us want more. It made us want something out of life. It showed us how to get it, and be thankful.
Okay. So what did well, okay, before I let you move on, where are you from? Just tell the audience where you're from. Maybe what your parents did too when when you were growing up. Like what did they do for work and stuff?
Okay, well, my mom, most of the time she didn't have a job. She would have jobs off and on, but most of the time she didn't have a job. She worked for the post office. She drove a bus for kids. Then she knew how to do people's taxes when income tax time came around. And then she had this job. She worked at a place where they made pictures. And my father, he was a garbage man. He was a garbage man. He used to work doubles, or 16 hours a day sometimes, to be able to support us, to be able to support 6 kids that actually wasn't his. But he took care of us with no problem.
Where are you from?
I'm from Gary, Indiana, the best city in the world.
Gary, Indiana, not Louisiana.
Yep, yep. I say it's the best city. People think it's just so bad, and they think it's kind of negative, in which sometimes it is. But I feel as though with what we have in Gary, which we don't have too much of nothing, so it makes you be able to create something and grow with it, because it's not a lot of people doing what you do, except for now in the hair industry. A lot of people are into the hair industry and into barbering, but it's still not like Chicago. It's not like Los Angeles. You know, it's still where you can create yourself a business and it can grow.
Okay. Yeah, like, there are definitely some great aspects to being from Gary. But before I continue on that, you were talking about kind of your parents and then also like growing up without having a lot. So you talked a little bit about like kind of the value for appreciating one another. What other values do you feel like your parents, your family, and your background kind of instilled in you?
They just taught us how to love each other, and then like my father, just seeing him get up and go to work every day. He worked and worked and worked and worked for years until he couldn't work anymore, and then he couldn't work. He was sick for a while, and then he still would try to find stuff to do. He would cut the grass. He started cleaning up my barbershop for me, and then he would wash the towels. I remember him going back and forth um, from the shop to the house to wash the towels, and he never complained. He never complained about anything until he just couldn't do anything anymore. So he taught me that if he could go out and work in the heat, the cold, the rain, the dry, and throw garbage, like, man, just to even take your own garbage out sometimes it's like, ugh, I don't want to do that. But this man took care of 6 kids that wasn't his off of one of the filthiest jobs in the world, and never ever complained. Besides one time he did complain, and my mama told me, she was like, he was upset, and I was like, well, why? And she said because he had to go to work. He wanted to stay at home, and play with the kids. Like he didn't want to go to work that day. And I was like, man. And she said he actually cried because he didn't want to go to work. He wanted to, stay at home and play with the kids, but he had to go to work. We had issues and stuff growing up, but to see that man be a man and not complain, my mom used to be fussing and stuff like that all the time and cursing and stuff like that. But, he didn't, he was like, man, I ain't paying no attention to her, so he showed us how to like not be angry, not respond to people when they mad or if they fussing and cussing. Sometimes just be quiet, let them get it out, and just keep it moving, and then not hold grudges against people. And then they also showed us how to just help people without looking for anything. And then one of the other things that we really learned was that I learned that nothing is for free, and then I learned that you don't get paid for everything either. But even though you're doing stuff, it's still not for free. Even if you're doing it for free, it's something that's going to come out of it, especially when you're doing it for free, so to speak. You have that thing where it's like you reaping and sowing, you giving, you getting. Sometimes it's not just you just giving money. You might be able to give your time, you're able to give your services, you're able to help people. So sometimes you might not see it, but it's definitely coming back because it's a principle. What you sow, you shall reap. So if you sow good, you'll get good.
That's good.
Well, you'll get good back if that's the correct way to speak it.
That's good.
But I guess it's correct if you understand it, right?
Mhm. No, those are all just like great values, and then also just realizing that they were like it is like learning opportunities and not overlooking those, right? Because I feel
Yeah.
like sometimes
Well, it was like when you grew up, you was thinking that you didn't have it. Well, we didn't have it because you see, other people getting gym shoes. They coming with new clothes all the time. They get the new toys and the bikes and then they got cars and stuff. And we sitting here didn't get nothing. You had to get out here and work for what you wanted. If you wanted something, you can sit back and not do nothing. If you wanted to, then you wouldn't have nothing. But we learned that you had to get out here and work. My father worked 16 hours a day to take care of 6 kids, and Lord knows how many other people that came over and lived with us, and didn't complain about it. And like my cousin said, he was like, look, man, he said, your daddy, man, he said, look, if he had a pack of cookies, everybody got 2 cookies. It just didn't matter. Everybody got 2 cookies, and you couldn't get another one until everybody had their 2 cookies. So and that's how it was. Like he taught us how to be fair. And it's essential in today's environment that all of the morals and values and things that he taught us, it comes out when we deal with other people. Because a lot of the young men today, they didn't have so-called a father figure in a house with them. So they don't understand. Sometimes, man, just be quiet. And then sometimes just get things done. Sometimes, and then like no matter how you feel, because I know he was sick some days and he still would go to work. And then people crying because, man, I don't feel like this, that. Well, what's wrong with you? Show me where I hurt at. Nah, man, you said this or this person said that. Okay, that's not stopping you from moving forward. None of this stuff is stopping you. You can't let it stop you. Like, I don't feel like going to work every day either, but I get up and go because I have to. If it's certain things that if I don't get up and do, they just won't get done. And in that way, it affects a whole lot of people. I thank God for the position and the authority that he's given me, but I'm not going to complain about it. I just have to get up and do what it is that I have to do every single day. But I thank God, like now he's giving me help. But go ahead. I don't want to get too far off of our subject.
Okay. Um, so before, okay, so okay, I'm sorry, so sorry. But like you talked a lot about just those values, and that's great. Do you have anything in particular that you feel like kind of inspired you growing up, or that you just kind of looked up to? And I think you probably touched on it a lot, but just anything in particular you might want to mention or think about.
To tell the truth, and not to be like, I'm not money hungry, but I just enjoy making money. I
Yeah.
just do, because if it's something that you want out of life, you just got to work for it and you got to go get it. And it's fun to create an idea, come up with something and make something out of nothing. Like when I grew up, my cousin had to remind me, and he was like, man, he said, man, this ain't nothing new to you creating money or, business. He said, you had a business when you was like maybe 10, 11, like 7 or something, 8. He said, you would go to the store for everybody. He said, you would go store. Okay, I'll go to the store if I get to keep your change. It might have been 15 cent, 20 cent, 30 cent, 40 cent. But if I went for enough people, I might end up with $2. And $2 30 years ago, well, shoot, what's that? No, 40 years ago. You know what I'm saying? $2 40 years ago or $1 40 years ago was a come up at the candy store or at any store. You can get two
Okay,
for
actually,
a
before
penny.
I let you continue, break down that business model for the audience that might not understand it. So you were saying,
If
what was this? What was this you had, and how old were you?
Probably I had to be between 7 and 10.
Okay,
7 and 10, because it was a candy store.
and then what
So
did you do?
I would go to the store for everybody.
And then okay, so you would go to the store for everybody.
Yeah.
What was the condition?
I got to keep their change from their dollars, or they, whatever. They would give me 15, 20 cent, 25 cent, 50 cent, stuff like that,
Okay,
so that I could get some candy. So I would go to the store for them. If they had $1, they might give me $1.25. Okay, well, I'm gonna get $1. You get the 25, you get to keep the 25 cent. Okay, well, if I went for 4 people and I had 25 cent from 4 people, I had $1. I would just go to the store. One, I like walking and stuff like that. Then two, it was just to be able to create something or get something, for basically nothing. Because it was nothing to me to walk to the store. It was nothing. But sometimes it was a mile if I went to the little hood grocery store that we had back then. So I would go to the store, and if like if I went for my mom or my father, they'd be like, you can just keep the change, or you can have $1, or you can have 75 cents, or sometimes you better have it every dime when you came back home. You know what I'm saying? They were never that stringent like that, but you better have their change, and you better not have to cheat them. But anyway, sometimes going to the store, you always came up on something. You always came up on something. You might find $1 along the way. You might find a quarter. Like even today, I just walked over 2 dimes coming out the gym. I'm just like, and I didn't pick it up. I'm just like, man, I started to pick it up. I was like, man, I don't know. Just like, this crazy. It's crazy. It's minor. But back then, oh, that 20 cent would have got me some candy. I would have got some candy, something with 20 cent 40 years ago.
for sure, for sure. I just think it's so interesting how, even at a young age, you were kind of thinking like, all right, so if I do this for this person, and they give me the change, that means that they're not losing that much, that they're not really thinking about that change later. But then if you do it for 5 people, you end up having maybe more money than they started with to begin with, and you just
Yeah.
missed that same one trip.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was that. Sometimes going to store for my aunties or uncles, they didn't feel like going. It's like, I'll send this little kid down here. He can get 50 cents or he can get a quarter. Sometimes they make you go and didn't give you nothing. You know what I'm saying? But I think it was the opportunities that they kind of got to me. I mean, just the opportunity to be able to, one, do something, two, to be able to advance or get more. Okay, if I can go to the store, even if it was for 50 cents, I didn't care because I didn't have anything. But 50 cent would get me a bag of chips and a pop. I remember chips used to be like 20 cent a bag of chips. You get a bag of chips for 20 cents. So, that's a come up. You get 50 cent, or if you get $1, you can get 5 bags of chips for $1, or get you 3 bags and a pop or something like that. That's a meal.
yeah. So tell me about like your first time that you can like think about making money for yourself. What was that like?
Well, my mom used to have a candy store, and that was the thing for me. And it just, I don't know what, it must have did something to me, or it sparked something. I'm like, man, that's good. But it was the fact she had a candy store, she can make money, and then the fact that the candy, you can eat it. You know what I'm saying? But then I realized that if you eat all your candy, you ain't gonna have no money. But she had the candy store, it made some money, and then it went down. And then so one time when I got an opportunity, I think somebody was driving down the street and they was fighting in the car, and the food stamps fell out the lady's purse and fell out the window. So I got the food stamps and I took them home to my mama. She took most of them, but I took some of them, and I was able to go to the candy store and buy me some candy and start a business with that. So I started selling candy off of some food stamps long time ago. And then I ate up all the candy and the profit. I made some money, but we ate it up. But then, that was just an experience and I learned. And then when I had another opportunity to do it, I was selling candy and stuff. It was kind of slow, but we ate up all the candy and ate up all the profit too, spent the profit and stuff like that. But, you learn. And even now still, you have to remember that, because that same principle applies today. I sold a barber chair yesterday. I sold a barber chair, and my first thought was, okay, well, I'm gonna pay my tithes with it. I'm gonna give my 10%. I'm gonna give a little bit more than 10% off of what I made, and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna buy me some more chairs. And then while I was selling the chair, somebody else was like, I needed a chair, and then other people keep calling me like, man, you got any chairs for sale? So it's just like, why just sit on your money and have it sitting in a bank account, or even you can even use your credit. Why would you just sit on it and just have it there when you could take it and then you could eventually you could double it and triple it, and then you could pay it back, and then you could still have something to keep making you more money. So that being said, like if I buy 10 chairs for $4,000, right? Say I make $6,000 off of selling those 10 chairs. When I make the money, pay the money back if I get it off my credit card. That's just the best way to give me an example of how to make money out of no money. If I sell those 10 chairs and it cost me 4,000, but I made 6, so I could take the 4 and buy me. I could take the 4, pay it back, and then take the 2 and buy me some more chairs. But I would want to buy 10 chairs, so I would take the 6,000, buy me 10 more chairs for 4,000. Take the 2 and put the 2 on to the credit that I used, or you put 1,000 on it. But then I got 10 more chairs. So I got 10 more chairs to sell that I could get another $6,000 off of. Eventually, I could keep doing that same process until I come up with $4,000 profit. That way I could keep buying the chairs and I could pay my credit back. And then I'm still having that business to keep going for. And then I could add some other things to it. Like, I got a whole lot of different things that I can sell. But the biggest thing that just came to my mind, and I got to get it out while it's in my mind, is time. Time. Time is your most precious gift. It's the most important precious gift that you have. It's how you spend it. So you have to make sure you manage that. That being said, I was like, I could still take my time and put into certain different things to make sure that it's having an increase. Because if God give you, not if, God giving you a talent somewhere, and you're supposed to take that talent, use that talent, and create with it and increase with the gift that God has given you.
Yeah.
So, and I have the ability to sell. I like selling stuff. I just always have. It's not just the money part is a bonus, but it's just the guy came yesterday. He's like, man, I need 6 of these mats that you got. No, I need 4 of them. I'm like, man, I got that. Okay, well, cool. He's like, how much are they? I'm like, they $20 a piece. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna give you a deal because you always doing stuff with me. First you came to my barber school. That was a blessing. Second, you opened up a barber shop with my son. That's a blessing. So now we brothers forever. And then third, you keep coming back to me to get supplies and this, that, and the third. So I'm gonna hook you up. They $20, you get them from me for 15. You can go back and sell them to your barbers for $20 or 25, however you want to do it. Or you can just put them in your shop and you got a discount. And then that, like I said, I got other people. Dude bought a barber chair. While I was selling that chair, somebody else was like, I need another chair. Then somebody else called me like, I need a chair. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a few $1,000s and I'm gonna go and buy me at least 10 to 15 barber chairs, or to maybe 5 barber chairs and 5 universal chairs where you can use it both ways, and then that $5,000 can turn into like $7,000, and then that $7,000 I can go back and give me another certain amount of chairs for $5,000, and then I'll be at $10,000. And then that way I could take the money that I spent into it, put it back to where I got it from, take the interest or the money that, the increase, and then re-up and then keep doing that. Now I'm in business.
Yeah.
But I've learned that from the candy store back in the day when my mom had a candy store. Okay, well, why did the candy store go out of business? Because we ate all the candy. You know what I'm saying? And then like now, you got to let people know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So if you're selling candy, let everybody know you selling candy. Hey, I sell candy. Put it right there, right across the dome. I sell candy. And it's going to work. And people are going to laugh. And that's why I did that, because people are going to look at it and it's quirky, which is funny. But if I can get your attention, I can get a sale. Just like what was his name? The man who sold Hallelujah juice. He had a restaurant. He was selling fish and chips. Fish and chips. He went around fish and chips, man, fish and chips. Man, I mean, that dude was a hustler, man. Oh man, he was good. But he used to stand on top of his car and let people know he was selling fish and chips. And he went to he went to all the barbershops and used to sell his Hallelujah juice. He had the best Kool-Aid, the best juice. I'm telling you. I don't know if it was sugar in that thing or crack. It was something in that juice to where you just kept buying it. And when he came around, hey man, let me get 2 cups of that Hallelujah juice.
That's hilarious.
He said 2 cups of that Hallelujah juice, and you was buying it 50 cents. This how his hustle came. It was 50 cents, but it was so good that you had to give him the dollar. And he'll be like, you want the change? You want some change back? Like, no. And then he'll bring the fish and chips around sometimes too. He went door to door. He didn't let nothing stop him with his business.
Yeah.
Nothing until he passed away, and he took that Hallelujah juice recipe with him.
Okay, I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to get through some more questions before you have to go. How did you think of risk? Were you ever like afraid of risking too much, or like how did you think of risk as far as business goes and stuff?
Well, that's a big subject. We could talk about that for a minute. You know what I'm saying? But risk.
Okay, give me a little bit, and then maybe we'll have to do another episode.
It's just a chance. It's just a chance. Sometimes if you don't take the chance, and like I said earlier, the opportunity. Sometimes the opportunity is right there, and you don't have to. Most of the time, when God do something for you, or when He wants you to do something, if He wants you to learn something, it's minimal risk. It's like it's so small. Like it's like I can't not take the chance. Yeah. I have to take the chance because I've learned that most of the time you already got what you need. You already got what you need to be able to do what it is that you need to do. And if you don't have it, it's just you only need a little bit. Like the lady with the glass jars, and she was finna eat her, they was about to eat their last meal or whatever it was. One of the stories in the Bible where the prophet told her to go and borrow jars from everybody that you can. And don't take a little bit, get as many as you possibly can and go and collect the oil. She said, I only had a little bit of oil. He said, go collect all the jars. She had the oil.
Yeah.
She had to be able to put them in some containers. So she went and got the containers. So like everybody, you got the gift. You got to be able to put it out. and put it into some containers so that you can fill those containers up.
Yeah.
So God gave you something. He's giving you the ability to get wealth. So you have to use it. Now, and then it's being wealthy on your level and then being rich on your level. That's what I call it. Because you could live in a certain area and be super wealthy, super wealthy. And what is wealth? I'll just let's just say rich, because wealthy is on a whole nother plateau, I think. But you could be rich on your level. That means having enough to pay your bills, help somebody else out, and have something left over at all times. If you're able to do those things, you're rich.
That's awesome. And then uh you said have some left over. I'm sorry, one more time.
Yeah, just have a little bit left over.
Just a little bit left over. Okay, I thought you were saying like, and then to give to others and stuff like that. Because I know
Yeah,
you
you got to
give.
be able to have something to take care of. God wants you to be able to take care of your responsibilities.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He made us providers, especially as a man. We're supposed to provide for ourselves and our family. We're supposed to take care of that. That should not be a problem. Then we're supposed to be able to give. If God gave to us, we're supposed to be able to, one, give back to him, and two, be able to give to somebody who needs help, because you have to fund his ministry, his kingdom. You have to fund his kingdom on earth. You have to be able to, it's so much to give to the church so that the church can function, because that's where God dwells at. He dwells in the church. That's where we learn. That's where we can love on each other. He feeds our spirit. So we have to be able to give to his kingdom. And if it's his principle, it's what God said. So I really believe in what God said. A lot of time I miss the mark. I'm saying? Sometimes unwillingly and willingly, I miss the mark, but God know who I am. And that's not an excuse, but I just I love God, and I'm trying to do his will.
Amen. And then so I'm just trying to get these questions out before you have to go. And so I hope I'm not taking too much time. It shouldn't be
Okay.
too much
Don't
longer.
even worry about it. Keep going. When you say you're done, we done.
Okay. And then I was gonna say, let me see. I think I asked a lot of I love how just one point. I just love how you kind of explained how your childhood has helped has kind of impacted and helped your business mind a lot. I think that's like just a very interesting thought. Let me see. What was the other question I wanted to ask next? What let me see. So there are like, so yeah, you talked a little bit about like how your childhood and like kind of that candy store, how it kind of taught you about business later. And then you kind of talk about like how you buy one thing and then you'll sell those and just kind of create wealth or create money that way, create money, right? And I think that's the fun thing about selling things. We all love seeing like, you plant a seed and then you see that blade grow. We all love seeing things grow. We all love seeing things like increase, like nothing turn into something. I think that just piggybacking on what like the nature of God and the traits of God. But we're created in his image and he is the creator, and we also admire like seeing something created, and seeing things produced. So just putting that point in my little
Like,
2 cents.
sometimes this is probably just a bad example, but like you're saying, create. If you ever watch a construction site, a lot of times, or a man doing some work, a lot of times you'll see another man standing there watching.
Really?
Yeah, they gonna stand right there and watch. Like, man, what you doing, man? How you do that, man? Okay, man. Okay, I see that it come together, man. And they just stand there and watch. Like,
It's fascinating. It's
it's
fascinating seeing
fascinating.
something
Just
created.
like I love building. I love growing. Like, I actually think I should be a contractor or something. To build. I like seeing houses being built. I really do. I just like seeing growth. Like,
Yeah.
this, it's down the street from us, probably about 2-3 miles down the street. They're building a whole nother subdivision. So I watched when they was clearing the land. Then I seen how they was working on the land. Then they seen them putting the curves in for the streets. They put the
Yeah.
curves in, and then they plowed the dirt for the street. And then they put the curves in. Then they put the streets in. And then like now they're getting ready. They start putting the sidewalks in. Then I could see when they dig the dirt for the people's houses that they're gonna build.
Yeah.
So once they dig the dirt, then they have to put the plumbing and the electrical and the then the foundation in. The first, I think it's the plumbing and the electrical, the sewage, that stuff. Then they put the foundation in, they put the concrete around, that type of stuff, and then they start building the house. And then I see how they got, they don't have each lot sectioned off, but you can figure out the in between stuff. Like, okay, well, this is the house, and this is about the certain amount of yard that they're gonna get. But they took a few acres, and then they start building, and then you can see the process. They dig it up, build and then you see the dirt, then you see the foundation go in. You don't see the underground work that go in, because it's like, you're passing by, you only got like a split 15 seconds to see, maybe 10 when you're passing by. So you got to kind of peep game real quick. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, no, no. It is. It's fascinating, like
It's
seeing
fascinating
people
to see it.
create.
Now they got about 9 houses up, and then they got about 3 houses in the works.
Okay, I'm gonna reel us back in. Very off topic, but what do you think were some useful tips that helped you be successful at growing money? So some useful tips for you, and then what are some things? What are you things? Some things you think might be useful for some tips that might be useful for other people to remember.
Well, first I gotta say, always give God something. Always give God something out of what you make. And God said in that rule, test me in this and see, don't I open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that you don't have room enough to receive. I understood that. So when it came to me, okay, well, I'm gonna do that. But one of the rules that I've learned about business was that, and you would hear rappers say it, and forgive me for the term, but he used to say, never get high on your own supply. So that we even went into the candy thing. You can't just eat up all your candy, because if you eat up all your supply, you're gonna run out of supply, and you ain't gonna be able to have nothing to sell. So if you eat up all your supply, you ain't gonna have no money. You're gonna go out of business. So never get high on your own supply. And I use that in the candy term. But that goes back into, like I was talking about, the barber chairs. If I buy $4,000 worth of barber chairs and I know I can make $6,000 off of them, I can't spend that other two. So it's not a full seed yet.
Yeah. Okay.
So, okay, let's say, okay, I'm gonna be aggressive. I'm gonna take the four, I'm gonna take the six, and I'm gonna spend another four and get me some more, right?
Yeah.
I might even take the whole six and get me some more. And then that way, when that six come back, I buy 6,000 instead of 4,000. Now I got $6,000 worth, and I should come back with 8,000 or $10,000 worth of stuff down. You know what I mean? And then maybe, since I'm spending so much, now I spent four. Now I'm finna spend another six. That's 10. Okay, now you as a person who's supplying me, like, okay, this dude serious business. He ain't just buying one or two chairs.
Yeah.
He buying 10. He ain't spending 200 or 300. He's spending 10,000.
Yeah.
Let me hook this dude up. Hey man, I'm gonna give you this, that, or the third. I'm gonna take $20 off of each chest, so I might get something extra. So that's one of the principles that I learned. One, just don't ever eat up all of your own supply. One of the other things that I learned is, all the money that you make is not your money. It's not yours. It's
Mhm.
not yours. Yes, in your hand, yes, in your bank account, but that money has a responsibility. And you have to have wisdom with that responsibility as to where that money's supposed to go. It goes back to the principles. You have to be able to take care of your provisions, things that you're supposed to be the things that you're supposed to provide for. Roof over your head, taking care of your family, making sure that you take care of the things that your responsibilities, that's the word, the responsibilities, help somebody else out, and then have some left. You know what I'm saying? So with some of what's left over, you could take it and reinvest it. So you always have to, like, you know, be conscious of, what's coming in and what's going out.
Yeah.
And then you can keep that going. So then once you understand that, and then once you get to the part where it flips to, whereas I could take my whole 4,000 out and I still got 4,000 to put back into it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I'm winning. Now I'm all profit now. So now you can
Yeah.
pinch and take a little piece and do what you want to do, but still make sure you don't get high on your own supply. You got enough to re-up and
Yeah.
go back and re-up. Go back to your supplier and re-up.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I have one last question. Maybe what is something you wish you knew, um, like either growing up or in business, and that maybe someone else might need to hear or should know?
Okay, well, I'm gonna tell you what I thought I wanted, wish I had but I'm gonna tell you why I'm good with it. Okay, so I know that sounds crazy, but you always wish that you had more. You wish you had a did more. You wish you had been better. But like, what is better? What actually is better? So I've learned that I've been doing good and I've been doing better all the time. So I really don't want to go back and change anything because I've learned so much with what I'm doing. Like, and now I'm at the point to where it's like I'm growing. I'm really, really growing. Even though I've always been growing, I've always been getting better, but I'm still getting better. And I'm saying I'm getting better because I have more knowledge now. I have more wisdom now. Like even talking to you, like, man, when I get off the phone, sometime or another today, I'm calling to order these 10 chairs. I'm gonna order 10 chairs. I'm gonna order some more clippers. I have my website and stuff that I can sell products and stuff off of. So I wish that I have done better back then, but now it's like I'm doing good now. I'm doing good now. I probably would have done better, but you have to have wisdom with what you have. And I didn't have the wisdom that I have now because I noticed that, yeah, you can have a lot, but did you really need it?
Mm-hmm.
Back then. And I didn't, not having too much before you're ready. I think it's the point that I'm getting to. Not having too much before I was ready to be able to handle it. Now I can handle it
Yeah.
mentally. I can handle it mentally now. I can handle success at a greater level now. Because sometimes, say if you hit the lottery and they give you $500 million, or just say 5 million, because I knew somebody who had $5 million. They hit the lottery and they won $5 million. You know, he bought a lot of houses. He did some stuff, but then he spent his money, and then I think he didn't have any money left, and then they ended up finding him dead.
Mm.
And it was crazy. And this guy who I went to school with, this guy protected me when I was in elementary school. He was cool. His name was Carlos Davis. He uh he was a friend. He was cool. We didn't talk that much after he hit the lottery because he was selling drugs, and then he hit the lottery, and then he was doing houses, and everybody was at him. So, and then, like, you didn't how to deal with these people when they at you because they money hungry or trying to get this and that from you. I don't think he had the wisdom that he needed to be able to handle that type of money, but he got it at a young age. He was probably 20 something when he got that money. And he hit the lottery. I think he got like probably 3 million. I don't know the whole story, but I know he's not here. And then they said they found him at his house, at one of his houses or something like that. And I knew he had been going through some stuff with people with the, about the money and all that type of stuff. But that goes back to one of the other things is being rich with what you have, being content with what you have. I'm cool with my growth. I've grown a lot. I've done a lot. And I thank God that I didn't have too much, saying that having too much where it could kill me,
Yeah.
because you don't have wisdom with it. So I thank God. And I even just read about Solomon with wisdom, like out of the greatest thing is wisdom. And God gave him everything because he asked for wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom of how to lead his people, how to lead God's people. And it's like, man, God put us in position and we are leaders. We're little bitty leaders. My pastor, he's like, man, it sound like you got a church. He's like, sound like you ministering. It sound like you a pastor, like that. So he's speaking those things into me. He said, you don't have to be up here in the pulpit. Your pulpit is the barber chair. He said, speak to them people, man. Keep loving on them. Because I said, I had to learn how to forgive people all over again. Like, man, when people make you mad and you want to just cut them off, but wisdom says, God said, forgive them and love on them anyway. But my pastor said, you ain't got to go to lunch with them. He said, you got to forgive them. And you got to help them sometimes. So I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you get out of my way. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to help you get better. And then, we're going to be cordial and we're going to speak, but I'm going to forgive you. But it's the point of wisdom. It's the point of being content. It's the point of growth at a respectable level, growing at a respectable level, not having too much to where you can't contain it. Just like even now with my school, I know I'm talking about a whole lot of different things, off topic, on topic, but you're gonna have the nuggets that you need for today. But my school, I'm like, man, why we don't have these many students and this and that and blah 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 blah. It's like, man, we could be failing this and that. I'm like, well, wait a minute, man, you paid off your building. All your buildings is paid for. You got to be thankful for that. That's not no small feat. That's a huge feat, and to continue to be paid for. Okay, well, we don't have the students. Okay, well, you got what you need right now. Right now, God made me work on structure. He said, work on these things, work on structure, get a plan, work and have a system to where it can work. And I've been working on it for a year and I'm still working on it. Even today, the structure that God has given me was able me to be free to be able to come and talk to you today. You know what I'm saying? To be able to sit down and take this time and talk to you. So now I got somebody at the school teaching a class, and the students know what they're supposed to do. My instructor know what they're supposed to do, and the system is working. So it's been a lot of wisdom that God has given me. With what He has given me, He's given me wisdom, and that was the greatest thing that He can give me: wisdom, love, peace. And I have to remember that I have joy, having fun doing what God allows me to do. So I'm able to speak to people, I'm able to pray for people, and then we on the prayer line, and the prayer line is God using that too to teach me. Like, man, this is how you pray for people. And then like even the devil be attacking my mind while we in a prayer line. I'm like, man, we praying. I can't be hating on the people that's praying. You know what I'm saying? So I have to bind these spirits and these thoughts, because that's how you get to your mind. That's how you get to you. It's your thoughts. Like, man, what you thinking about? No, I'm not finna hate on this person. Okay, so what? I might not agree with it, but whatever, it ain't even about me right now. It's about them. I'm gonna be in agreement with what they asking God for. And I'm mainly in agreement about God's will being done. That's the main thing.
Amen. All right. Well, there you have it. That's pretty much all of my questions. That I just want to reiterate that last point though. Just wisdom and being content with what you have, like what richness God gives you now. Two awesome things to consider. And then also just appreciating those what fruits of the spirit, right? Kind of like that peace, that joy, that love that God gives, right? Those are things nothing else in this world can give us, right? And so it's an awesome thing, and sometimes it's so easy for us to overlook that because it's not something that we see with our eyes. But to be quite honest, people who don't have it, they wish, they would give anything to have those things. So to be content and to use wisdom, to have wisdom. And it says, I'm gonna just throw a verse in there. I love Proverbs. It says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of all wisdom. Um, so fearing the Lord and knowing God, right? And how that leads to wisdom, how that um, just reverencing him, how that leads us to wisdom. So that is it for today. That was a great message, a great word, and I know for a fact that there a lot of people will be able to grow from that, learn from it. So I'm really excited for our listeners, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much.